3 civilians killed, 9 injured in Saudi air raids against Saada governorate. Saudi jets launched several airstrikes against various Yemeni governorates. Shortage of life-saving medicines kills Yemenis leukemia patients. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the news. I'm Akram Al-Hindi. 3 civilians were killed and 9 others were injured in new Saudi air raid crime in Saada governorate in the north of the Republic of Yemen. According to Yemen Today correspondent, the Saudi warplanes launched 8 airstrikes against 3 houses in Al-Qadam area of Al-Hashwa district, southeast of Saada, killing 3 civilians and injuring 6 others. Most of them are children. The Saudi warplanes also made an air raid on Razih district, which caused great damages in private properties. While in Majd, the Saudi jets hit with a new air raid and Nasama bridge in Al-Ja'mala area, while in Kitaf they carried out 3 air raids against Al-Malil and Al-Imad areas. The Saudi warplanes launched new series of air raids against the governorate of Hajjah. According to local sources, the Saudi jets waged at least 15 air raids on various areas of Harad and Midi amidst heavy flying. The Saudi warplanes also destroyed a bridge on the main road of Ahim in Kushar district. Earlier, the Saudi warplanes killed 5 citizens and injured 10 others by several air raids on their properties in the same district. The Saudi warplanes hit with new air raids Taiz governorate southwest of Yemen. The Saudi jets waged at least 2 air raids against Mocha Junction in Mawza district hours after several air raids on the same district. The Saudi warplanes carry out daily air raids against the governorate of Taiz to back up their paid militias who seek to occupy the western coasts of Taiz governorate. And Sana'a governorate was also subject to several air raids by the Saudi warplanes. Yemen Today local sources confirmed that the Saudi jets hit with 3 air raids Al-Madfoun area in Nahm district. The Saudi jets also carried out heavy flying over various areas in Nahm district. The new Saudi terrorist attacks came hours after the failure to occupy the district by the Saudi paid militias. The General Authority for Civil Aviation and Meteorology and the Ministry of Human Rights together organized a protest stand calling on international community to form an international committee to investigate in Saudi crimes and also to end the siege on Yemeni airports and seaports. The siege that had led to the killing of thousands of patients who are in a dire need to travel abroad for medical treatment. And the full story in this report.
Tragedies caused by Saudi-led coalition, which caused in death more than 13,000 patients. Saudi blockade prevented the Yemeni patients from traveling abroad to receive treatment since the beginning of unjust siege on Yemeni airports and seaports. Saudi regime also caused in preventing the Yemeni people who are living in the other countries to return to Yemen. This matter urged the General Authority for Civil Aviation and Meteorological in collaboration with the governmental bodies and civil organizations to organize a protest stand in which they called on the Human Rights Council to speed up in Saudi siege on Yemen and open the Yemeni airport on top of the international Sana'a airport. Every Yemeni people claim to lift Saudi blockade and stop unjust war in Yemen and to form international community to investigate on Saudi heinous crimes and making international trial against all involved and perpetrators who committed a brutal genocides in Yemen. We called on the international community on top of the United Nations and the Security Council, as well as Arab and foreign people, to end unjust siege in our country, particularly Sana'a airport, which represents the only access in Yemen. The Ministry of Human Rights denounced the role of the international community towards Saudi crimes and genocides against Yemeni people, as well as the unjust siege which increased worsening the living situation in Yemen, calling on the international community to to play its role to open Sana'a airport. The unjust blockade on Yemeni airport since the Saudi war in Yemen caused in death more than 13,000 patients who were in need to travel abroad to receive treatment, and there are a big number of patients who will face the same fate due to the Saudi unjust siege. The Ministry of Human Rights confirms that the Yemeni people have the right to travel abroad, and this right is guaranteed by all national laws and the international agreements. The General Authority for Aviation and Civil Meteorological called on the Council of Human Rights to form the international community to investigate in Saudi crimes against Yemeni people, especially targeting the international Sana'a airport many times by Saudi warplanes. We called on the international community to stop suffering of Yemeni people and to speed up lift Saudi siege on Yemen, and we call on to form international community to investigate the Saudi crimes in Yemen, and we oblige Saudi regime to stop its war and siege. We are in the civil aviation organized this protest stand to call on forming international community to investigate in Saudi crimes, which is one of them death of more than 13,000 patients who were in need to travel abroad to receive treatment. This protest stand coincides with holding Human Rights Council in its 36th session, in which the protesters called on to speed up forming the international community to investigate in Saudi genocides against the Yemeni people.
The Yemeni patients in general and leukemia patients in particular face great threats as their lives are on the verge of the death due to the lack of medicines and equipment in the Yemeni hospital. The full story next in this report.
من أمام رفات المتوفين نوجه رسالة للعالم أن يلتفت إلى مرضى السرطان، إلى معاناة مرضى سرطان الدم. هناك الآلاف من مرضى السرطان بدون أدوية إلى اليوم منذ أكثر من عامين، واليمن في حالة حصار وفي حالة حرب.
So appeal the leukemia patients standing on a graveyard in the capital Sana'a to the international organizations and the whole world to witness their conditions. They are threatened with the inevitable death if they do not have the medicine that has been cut off since the beginning of Saudi terrorism and siege on Yemen. I am one of the patients with leukemia. We appeal from one of the graveyards in Sana'a, demanding treatment, especially that our conditions deteriorated as a result of the war and siege. We appeal to the world, humanitarian organizations and official bodies to save the lives of cancer patients. There is a disaster unless lives of patients are saved. Our message is, will the world conscience awake to our conditions, or is it as if it was buried? We are talking about the graves we will be in because of its negligence. We ask the world to respond to our demands and save the patients. Leukemia, Tragedy and Solutions, the title of a symposium that was held by the National Cancer Control Foundation. The doctors discussed about the suffering of the foundation from Saudi aggression and siege. A number of leukemia patients attended the symposium.
اليمن يعاني معاناة كبيرة جدا من مرضى سرطان.
Yemen suffers greatly from not being able to treat cancer, especially leukemia. The cost of treatment is very high and is unavailable. We demand international organizations support us with this matter. Now we face a big problem with medical equipment that examine, treat and contain nuclear, which is not allowed to have during wars. This is the biggest problem we are facing. Those who have not died from the bombing of Saudi terror warplanes will die of cancer. In the shadow of the unjust siege, which prevented the entry of medicines to save the remaining souls, the patients are still grappling with leukemia.
And the British armed companies have earned more than £6 billion from their trade with Saudi Arabia during the ongoing war against Yemen. The following report discussed the story in full.
The independent newspaper criticized the British government for arms deals with Saudi despite the existence of evidence of war crimes and civilian deaths in Yemen, asserting that British arms companies have earned more than £6 billion from their trade with Saudi during the ongoing war in Yemen. The newspaper pointed out that British weapons manufacturers profit from the killing of innocent children by selling weapons to the so-called Saudi alliance, pointing out that it is accused of war crimes and the killing of thousands of civilians by its raid. The article said, according to World Child Organization, that the real income from dealing with Gulf countries is twice as high as the previous estimate. And Putin not only sells weapons to Saudi forces, but also maintains them, pointing out that the companies that sells weapons to Saudi were among the exhibitors at the arms fair held in London last week, which was supported by government ministers and senior army leaders, stressing that the government has repeatedly defended the arms trade with Saudi, despite evidence of war crimes and killing among civilians in Yemen, where Saudi bombing campaigns make the crisis of hunger and cholera worse, noting that the evidence found at the sites of the massacres indicate that they were all made in Britain. According to the newspaper, members of parliament and humanitarian organizations called on the British government to stop selling weapons to Riyadh, but the government has lately won a lawsuit in court provided by the Campaign Against Arms Trade, in a clear evidence of Putin's double standards at the expense of the Yemeni blood.
At the end of the news, here is a quick recap of the news main headlines. 3 civilians killed, 9 injured in Saudi air raids against Saudi governorate. And Saudi jets launched several airstrikes against various Yemeni governorates. Shortage of life-saving medicines kills Yemeni leukemia patients. And with this, we have come to the end of the news. Thanks for being with us.